So last week was V's, and I'm pretty sure I made a pun. I realized that I had forgotten V as a pun, and so then I made another one for W because it was so similar. Or was it similar to you? Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Oh, it was 2 weeks ago that I did a pun for you, and then I said like a much worse pun about how if there are two of you and if you're twins, that W would. So anyway, here's W's. And let's, I guess, start with, well, we'll start with the things that are not W's, such as this Steve Halpern here, which I listened to last night, I think, or maybe no, it was a few days ago. And like Steve Halpern is pretty funny. He's like a new age artist. This album in particular, the only reason why I'm showing it off is no reason at all, other than it's such a it's so inspired, I guess you could say, if I want to put it politely, by Keith Jarrett. It's such a ripoff, I guess, if you want to put it impolitely. And it's so funny. I'm looking at the tape right now. It's like Halpern sounds, and like his name, and like every tape he does, he has to like tell you about how great he is. He's one of those people. And so he's like telling you, Halpern sounds. I'm sure, surprised it's not Steve Halpern presents Halpern sounds, a tribute to Steve Halpern. And he tells you about like how he's invented this new kind of sound or something. It's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't collect it if it was bad, or maybe I would, but anyway, that's that. And he looks so silly too. He's got Party in the Back, Business on Top from 1992. How to Tell the Boys from the Girls is just like a, what is it? A twin tone compilation with some Soul Asylum and things. This was okay, I guess. Skate Nazis, Surf Nazis Must Die. Enjoyable because it was a keyboard-oriented album. Oh, and then Doom. I probably have some things to say about Doom, too. Because when I heard it, originally, I thought it was kind of maybe sort of juvenile sounding in a lot of ways. Not bad. And I don't think that, like, the time that the guy came up with, well, he didn't come up with it, when he borrowed the music to make Doom 2, you could say, that, he didn't know that Doom was going to be a big game or anything like that, and so maybe it wasn't a big deal. There's various theories on the internet as to, these complete, knockoffs of Alice in Chains and DRI and stuff. Well, he says, I mean, the original guy who did the music seems like a nice guy, and I don't think it was his idea. He wanted to actually write some music, and he was told by the Doom people to just blatantly rip off music by people who probably didn't know as much as he did about music, or they should have told him to write something like it. Instead, they told him to just steal it basically, and so it's not his fault. I've read some things on the internet about how he, being a lawyer, he knows exactly where the line is. What I would say to that is he became a lawyer after he became a musician, and that nobody knows where the line is when it comes to copyright, because if you did, you would just go and be inside of it all the time. I mean, I think people are getting better at knowing how much of a percentage of you can actually rip off of something. But like there are a lot of comments on the internet where like they say, oh, it's totally different. And that's nonsense. It's completely the same song. He totally was taking an Alice in Chains songs and basically writing a little bit of melody over it. He definitely didn't know whether they would be sued. They got lucky. They dodged a bullet. All those bands could have sued Doom, the people who made Doom. Doom's a great game, and yeah, I watched a thing about the making of Doom, and so it's cool. But let's not kid ourselves about that. And like a lot of video game people really like to tell you like as if they know a thing or two about music or something, and they know about like video games and the video games they like. They don't know about music or anything like that. So like talk to a musician or somebody about music, not a video game enthusiast. So unless that video game enthusiast knows about music, But I do see a lot of video game enthusiasts who are thinking that like the people who write music for video games, which is basically I would call new age music part 2 or new age music for the 21st century. They seem to think it's incredible music, and I mean, this is where subjectivity is kind of a. I'm gonna stop now. Anyway, Normal it's another really good one from Normal. The people that did this, so incredible, early 80s stuff. Yeah, I don't know how they thought of whoever put this together is incredible. Here's something incredible too. The first Mark Shreve Phantom. Please focus. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's Mark Shreve's Phantom. This was not a cheap tape, but it wasn't. I don't know. I've seen it gone for more, but 1980 original. Not old is Ringo Starr's latest. I mean, Ringo Starr is somebody who just gets everybody to write his music for him, and then he sings on it, and like, good for him, It's okay. He's like almost, I don't know, he's 80 or something, so he's doing great for 80. The Superman 3 soundtrack. I like Superman 3. It's a lot of, I don't know, what would you call Superman 3? Like the beginning is just a lot of slapstick, Three Stooges style silliness, and I kind of enjoy it. I actually enjoy the computer too, and like everything. It's a terrible movie, but it's fun. So good for that. Oh, I think I did see I did mention Why Do Birds Sing in my last video, or one of them, I think, and here it is. What a great album. So enjoyable. Oh, so good. I don't care. The Violent Femmes, they make a few missteps, but they sure do write some catchy songs. And they don't seem to care whether they're, brilliant musicians or anything. They're just like, they're doing the Violent Femmes thing. I really like the song Used to Be. But I've liked that album since it came out. So great. Oh, this is fun. The Andy Warhol, I don't know why in Poland they made this, but they made sort of an album that's sort of a tribute to Andy Warhol for some reason. And it also wasn't the cheapest album, actually, but it wasn't over $50, but it was like, I don't know. It's got some Lou Reed, some Nico, Marilyn Monroe, Janis Joplin, John Cale. Everybody you think of when you think of Andy Warhol, I guess. So, Washed Out. I admit it, I like Portlandia. I actually wanted to do a sketch comedy based called Madasonia that would be like Portlandia, and I had all these ideas, and it's never going to happen, but I liked it. You get ideas in your head. I probably shouldn't tell you about the video game I thought of last night, but it's for, because on the internets they've got Cursed AI, and they do these little video games and stuff, and the one I thought of last night is called Fetal Position, and it involves like a bearded man going into fetal position. He floats through the air, and like life kind of comes at him, and all he has to do is go into a fetal position, and he just sort of floats by. It's like the one button in the game. You can move left or right, and you go to the fetal position, and you're just protected from everything. It's a great game. I mean, at least it will be when I program it. That won't happen. But anyway, Roger Waters, live, 90. 501 label. I don't remember anything about it. I'm sure it was enjoyable. It's been like I think I listened to it last month or something. Oh yeah, that's right, because I was trying to get all... And I listened to this too. Wicker Spigot, which I think is how you pronounce it. Is it Wicker and Spigot? This is actually 29 of 50 here. This is an impressive contribution from a lot of different bands who apparently know this band and know all their songs, and I was kind of impressed with the breadth of it. And this one impressed me with the kick-assedness of it, so I enjoyed that. What is this? Oh, I think this is an original, London version of Jesus Christ Superstar. Now, Jesus Christ Superstar, it plays a special, I don't know if my friend Emily or Twyla will ever watch this video, but it plays a special, we know We know. But that goes back a long ways for me because I once borrowed basically the vinyl equivalent of this very one here. Yeah, to arrange the on-field warm-up of my drum and bugle corps when I was 16 years old using a little tiny Yamaha cheap keyboard that was like about microtone out of tune with it, maybe a quarter step out of tune, to kind of create a basic version of John 1941 for our on-field warm-up. And ever since then, and we learned the whole thing, and yeah, I was gonna maybe play drums for a version of this, but I got beat up instead, and I was still trying to practice even though I got beat up. And anyway, yeah, so it was, and then like, oh yeah, me and Emily and Twyla, who I mentioned, I put on television on my set on my head and played the first song. What is it called? Have It on Their Minds. And Emily and Twyla did some crazy dancing to it. I can't remember what they're doing. I mean, of course, I had a television on my head. So, what other versions we got? Oh, A Resurrection. Here we go. Which is, I think, the promo version of the one where the Indigo Girls are playing Judas and Jesus, respectively. Although, you know what? I don't know which respective it is. I don't know which one played which. But anyways, then again, I didn't really specify anyway when I said respectively. All right, so let's move on. The WEC 24 is another Konami excellent little Japanese video games thing. Le Mans arcade version. Look at how beautiful. Yeah, the original sound of Le Mans. Yeah, and so it's a lot of, but it's a lot of like really, some of the stuff, because it's programmed, almost sounds like breakbeat jungle music. It really passed for like a modern, when I say modern, I mean like the early 90s. Oh my God. Okay. Well, but it's still impressive. It's because like, it's, from 1986 or something, or 87, I think. 87 from some of that. But it still has like a sound that's like breakbeat. I know. You're looking at the Ween already. You're not paying attention to anything I'm saying. I don't blame you. Yeah, so here we have, let's get right into it, right? We've got two versions of the pod. This is the non-barcode version. By the way, I've got like the other two versions of the pod, from like, okay, so the barcode version and then the Electra reissue. So the original like barcode shimmy disc. This is the original barcode or non-barcode shimmy disc, the barcode shimmy disc, and then the Electra reissue. And then this is a good old, a lot of cracks in that case, Thailand version there. Here is a Ween, oh boy, chocolate and cheese advance, a different version than I was, copied at Dupe Coop in New York. Dupe Co-op? I don't know. And then here, another chocolate and cheese when it got to Electra. Now, I don't know why you have two different promos. I mean, they're both, U.S., as far as I can tell. I'm pretty sure that Dupe Co-op is U.S. Anyways, so I get the sense that this is possibly an earlier version or something. I don't know. Here we have another promo of, Thailand version there. And I'm going to be trying to be very careful with this. I actually took this when I went to the show. This here is the rarest commercial thing you can possibly own on any format, including CDs or anything else that I know of, or that other, it's been said that this is, what this is Rent-A-Wreck presents Ween. How much did I buy this for? Like $250, I believe. So, back in the 1990s, if you rented a car with Rent-A-Wreck, they would give you this this weird little thing. It's from Chocolate and Cheese. There's nothing like, Bird of Prey on it or anything, or rare. But it itself is so rare because who rented a car and got a free Ween tape? And nobody, you know. And so I brought that when I saw Ween. I had the opportunity to see them last summer, late summer, I believe. And I brought that tape and I took a few pictures of it with me. And then I tried to post it on Reddit and nobody cared. So Voodoo Lady is from Australia. This is a single here. It is pretty rare. Let's see, promotional record? Not for sale. Is it really? Oh, okay. I would think this is for sale, actually. Okay, and then I've got two versions of 12 Golden Country Hits. Not two versions, really, actually, except for the fact that I would say maybe this version is, I say version loosely, this copy here is got a darker font than the other one. Otherwise, they're just the same. They do have the Muhammad Ali sample, which they could not use. I'm actually sort of open to selling this one, maybe. This has, you know, this copyrighted Muhammad Ali thing. They couldn't get permission to do it, but there it is. If you ever wanted to hear it, you probably just go online instead. But that's the original artifact. And another, like here, we're going to go with the 12 Golden Country Hits. The, boy, I got to get moving on this. Another, I think, is this? I don't know. I thought this might be a Philippines or something, or Indonesia or something, but maybe it's just a regular one. I don't know. This mollusk is certainly from down there. And then here's another copy of the mollusk, which is even weirder. I think this is way looking, at this point, this is like an earlier Indonesian version, but it's looking really bootleggy to me. All right, so now we get to Weezer. Why not? Here we got my, I didn't have to pay like through the nose for this, by the way. I got a decent deal. I can't remember where I got it anymore, but I paid, you know, I don't know, not much. I got a kind of a steal on it, but I can't remember exactly how much. Anyway, that's the first Weezer promo there. And then we got, well, I'll just go through these. I don't pull them out. You know, a Weezer from Indonesia again. These two are singles. I think this one's Holland or something. It talks about like going on tour, I believe. Yes, on tour. Another like little single thing, and Say It Ain't So. And Pinkerton from Indonesia. El Scorcho from, I think, Australia. And then the, like, after you get past the green one and this one here, which are both again, I think those are, yeah, Indonesia or Thailand or something. I kind of, you know, because they're very similar, I kind of meld Thailand and Indonesia together. But after that, you've got, other than the black album here, I think, one of these are quite jank, like things that I bought from somewhere else, you know. They might be from Indonesia, but even they don't really seem to have any officiality to them, I would say. However, this teal one was fun, at least. It's kind of fun to, it didn't sound good, but it was fun to rock out to that. Yeah, that's not, they would frown on me for having that, I guess. But whatever, I mean, they're fun little trinkets. I mean, the sound is so bad, can you really even take it seriously? You can like just go online on YouTube and listen to any of these albums at any point, right? Does that really help Weezer? No. Does this really help Weezer? Yeah, maybe, because I'm like drawing attention to Weezer. So arguably, you know, people should rethink their copyright laws, I think, a little bit. Well, they're going to have to now that AI is involved. I don't use any AI. There's no AI in any of this, so, you know, I'm not stealing anything from anybody. Okay, so those are all fun. That basically takes you through the entire Weezer catalog. I didn't really go through much of it. But there it is. You can see it. Now, I want to talk a little bit about white noise because these are so neat. These are the only tapes of white noise that I know of. This is an original in fantastic shape of the first White Noise Electric Storm off the wonderful Antilles label. Yes, Antilles. I was like, Achilles label? No, Antilles label. I'll have another thing coming up on Antilles pretty soon. And an original Virgin Records of White Noise 2. So now these are like kind of marked by, well, by a lot of experimentalism from the late 60s. And so you know how much I love that. I don't care what it is, but it turns out like it's the BBC, I think. They had access to like the BBC vault of like sound effects and crazy stuff. So they're going crazy with it. Now this is kind of a, what is this? Oh, 2019 version, whatever that might be for White Noise. You know, the 2019 White Noise, you know, I don't know. But there you go, 36 of 100. I got it. I was like, all right, screw it, I'll get it. And we're getting to the Who now, original Happy Jack, not in the greatest shape of Decca. And I'm trying to hold this thing together. This is a Spanish single. If it's to be believed, this is actually from 69, but I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say with some of that when it actually came out. More Who. I'm not going to read it all off. You can read it. But I will say I enjoyed the movie version of Quadrophenia. And then you've got sort of this other one, Vicar, I think, Mick Vicar, which is kind of like the Who's kind of foray. I should probably mention the club version of Quadrophenia from back in the day too, as being somewhat notable. And then we get into John. But this is the last Who album, most likely. I don't believe these old guys are gonna like try to do another album because I don't know. They did it. You know, nobody cares anymore. And Pete Townsend is increasingly looking like super crabby and or we're not sure where his head's at sometimes, you know. But he's done it. He's done it all. So nobody's really bothering him anymore for another album or anything. Which means they'll probably, you know, reunion next year and do it, right? Of course, because that's what the Who always does. They've had like 16 reunions. This is Azuma Matea's Star Wars and other things, but I believe it's all John Williams and it's a mobile fidelity, so it sounds great, except for the fact that whoever flippin' sold me this, I can't tell because these are the old blue kinds. And like they're all supposed to have like the pad, right? But does this look like a mobile fidelity pad here? No. It's like I can't believe somebody would just, you know, take the pad out thinking that they're going to do something better with it and replace it with, unless yours fell out of yours copy and you must do that. But how would you even get the pad out? I don't know. I didn't like that was replaced with a different pad, if that's what happened. I've been thinking a lot about John Williams lately and how much. The reason, of course, is because I'm working on this Harry Potter movie called Hallie Porter and the Door of the Room, and then later Wave of With, also known as Hallie Porter and the Wave of With, but his name is with Wave in it, so it's the Wave of With. Anyway, these are bootlegs from China in an attempt to translate the Chinese back into English. And so you have a lot, I got a lot here that I tried to listen to. And I feel, I you know, the other day I was kind of going on just to look about which were considered to be the great John Williams soundtracks. I'm going to say something that, well, hot take, I guess. I don't think Jurassic Park is really that good. Certainly not as good as people are holding it out to be. And I will stand by that because Jurassic Park, and I listened, I just put it on and like listened, not to this, but just on, you know, I skimmed through it. Basically what Jurassic Park is two very good John Williams themes and a sort of horror soundtrack thing. His heart was not in that. Okay, you can't tell me, other than the two very nice themes that he made, but like you millennials holding that up to be some masterpiece of a soundtrack, you're wrong. And you need to listen to more music. You really should listen to all the Harry Potter soundtracks and reevaluate those. I think it's basically the fact that you love the movie Jurassic Park and you kind of don't care as much about Harry Potter. That's for kids, or maybe you were a kid or something. I don't know. But no, the Harry Potter music is some of his greatest works, and you could really tell he loved the books. And I think it is some of the last great music that he did. There probably is maybe a soundtrack or two I'm forgetting, but by the 2000s he's kind of getting older, and he can't really quite write the way he used to anymore, and that's totally understandable. He's like 90 years old, folks. So, by the way, I love Temple of Doom. I think that's a really, really good one. That's underrated. That's got that. It's got a middle part with a French horn that I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to sing it. But anyway, like I'm getting very intimate more with the music, especially in Chamber of Secrets and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and his music is just perfect for those movies. Now, some would say Philosopher's Stone, and by the way, these versions of these, which is kind of amazing to have. Oh, is that Chamber of Secrets? Okay, I do have Prisoner of Azkaban, but it's in my other collection, I'm afraid. This is just this is like Russian Chamber of Secrets in Russian or Ukrainian, I'm not really sure. Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, which is the same music, but a different title. And then I do have Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, the difference between Sorcerer's Stone and musically between that and the Chamber of Secrets is that, I think it's more refined in Chamber of Secrets. Now, I haven't really listened in a little while to Sorcerer's Stone, but I get the sense that there's a refinement going on and a few new themes, which I think it makes it a better soundtrack. Now, compared to the soundtracks which came out afterwards, those are pretty bad compared. Like, they're okay, but they're not on the level of John Williams. Yeah, so they really lost a great, just kind of like when the original Dumbledore died, who I felt was the much better Dumbledore. Yep, I'm getting into Harry Potter right now. I didn't want to, but you can't not get into it while you're working on a movie about it. You have to. I mean, otherwise my movie won't be as good, I don't think. So, Williams and how his music works. For example, I recently did a scene with Dobby, the character Dobby, and so the way Williams writes that is that he's got the higher stuff has like a nice major chord over it, but underneath is all of in the lower registers is all of the chaos. So he'll like outline a major chord, which is kind of how Dobby thinks, what's going on in his brain, how he thinks it's happening, but underlying it is the real internal struggle or the with Dobby, the underlying motivations of his character, subconscious motivations of his character, which are all chaotic. And he's always going to bring chaos. But in his mind, he's bringing like harmony. And John Williams just captures that so well if you really listen to the music. That's just a scene I worked on recently. All right, so what else we got? I want to just get through this. Oh, I mean, I got to mention David Hikes again, but I think I already did. He's incredible. And I finally got this Wipers here. I looked for this for so long, but then they came out with a reissue. So I don't think they ever put it out, the original, but they did put these two originally. This Wire was pretty good. Chairs Missing. Oh, I should mention about Wire. That Wire 154 here, this is an original here, a US copy, and this is a British Chairs Missing. And these are demos of Chairs Missing, by the way. All very, very good. Wire's a great band. Like, it's incredible they came up with what they did. 154, okay, so that Longitude Latitude song, I don't know. That's a place in Iowa. It's in southern Iowa. You can look it up. It might not mean anything to you, but from somebody from Iowa it does. David Weiss, Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know. I'm trying to get more of these soundtracks because horror soundtracks are bigger, so I've been trying to get them. This Wolf Eyes was one of the loudest flipping things I've ever seen. And speaking of Harry Potter, they dubbed it onto a Harry Potter in the Order of the Phoenix tape. Wolf is another guy. And okay, I got to go. It's half an hour.